Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
James, you were here at the Player-Teacher Forum for the Northern California PGA, and you spent all day with our Northern California professionals. They really enjoyed your presentation. What's the difference between being at an event like this today and what you do with some of the tour players? I mean, you're still talking about the same stuff, but obviously you're looking at it differently.
Yeah, the information is key and critical to a coach. They want to know everything. They want to know, the ins and outs, the backwards and forward, how to assess. But a tour player wants to know none of that. They just want to know. Just tell me what I need to do. I don't want to understand it. You're the coach.
Okay.
Just tell me what I want to do. You're trying to keep it very simple for the player, and of course, the coach doesn't need simple. They need to know it in its entirety, so they can pick out things and make it simple for the player.
How long does it take to establish that relationship with the players so they feel comfortable with what you're saying and you've been around them enough to know what it is they're doing?
Well, it doesn't take that long as they play good. The reality is that, listen, when you're coaching a pro, it's always important, even if it's a club player, because golf's important for people.
Sure.
That's how they recreate, but in this case, it might be somebody's livelihood. It might be ability to, send their kids to college or whatever. So, performance comes first, and as soon as that player knows that you'll help them, because it's a long, old, lonely battle, and it's one you can't do by yourself. You need support. So, as soon as that person knows that, or is confident that, okay, I finally found somebody that's really going to help me get better, help me stay on track, then the relationship happens very quickly. But it doesn't happen before. The performance comes first. The trust comes second.
Now, do they find you because one of their playing relationships?
Yeah,
they said we should
word of mouth.
Yeah.
A guy might be struggling in the bunker, and he's playing with somebody he knows, and the guy hits 5 or 6 incredible bunker shots, and he goes, "Gosh, where did you learn how to be a good bunker player?" So it's just like word of mouth, like that.
As recreational players, it's hard for us to comprehend that the tour players would need help. They're so good and they hit all these great shots. Where does this help come from? Is most of it mental, or?
Not entirely. The reality is, it's the uninformed might be clapping for a chip that goes 5 feet from the hole, and inside the tour player just knows that they it costs themselves a quarter of a shot.
Right.
And if they do that consistently, it's going to affect their livelihood. So, their standards are higher, and they're always trying to improve. That's one thing good players have in common, regardless of how good they are. It doesn't matter if it's, pick your favorite tour player. Every day they wake up and think, I'm going to get better today.
Wow.
You've got to find a way to, as a coach, to help them do that.
You just said something that just kind of made it crystal clear for me when you said that it's a quarter of a shot. As recreational players, we don't think in terms of a quarter of a shot. We think in terms of a bogey or a double bogey, but when you're that finite, that's a lot of pressure.
It really is. One time I had a gentleman, do some math for me and showed one of the players that I worked with that they'd improve a shot a day on their putting, that it would be worth $1 million at the end of the year. So, shot a day is a lot. But the reality is, you're at that level. There are so many good quality players that aren't on tour that you look at them and think, why is this guy not on tour? He's unbelievable, shooting 65 in practice or whatever. But the reality is, it's just that fine. You not only, and it is mental, because not only you have to be that good, but you have to be able to do it when it counts.
Right. I don't know what truth there is to this, but we've heard the notion that there's lots of good players that can get from tee to green, but it's that short game that kind of distinguishes the really good ones.
Yeah, I'd say that's partially true. The reality is the full swing is so important for your scoring. However, everybody hits it good at that level, and you go to a range on the web.com tour or a mini tour event, and you look down the range and you see these balls fly out there, and you go, oh my gosh! And that doesn't look any different than what you'd see out of a Matt Kuchar or Hunter Mahan or somebody that we all know is a quality player. The reality is Matt Kuchar's an unbelievable putter. He's a great wedge player. His management skills are incredible. Zach Johnson's wedge play is amazing. He's a great putter. And that's really everybody hits it good already. So that kind of is a separator. Like I said, things are so fine. I don't know if it's the most important thing. I think ball striking might be, but it's certainly the things that separate the men from the boys.
So if a player comes to you from your club and says, I'm shooting in the low 90s and I want to get to the 80s, obviously you have to take a look at their game, but would you find that most of them, it's the short game where they're missing?
Yeah, the common response from them is, I need to hit it further.
Farther, yeah.
And it would certainly be more enjoyable to hit it further, but the reality is you could hit it 10 yards further and they'd shoot the same score.
Right.
And to prove that, all you got to do is move them up a set of tees. If they're shooting 83 and they move up to the next set of tees, they're still shooting 83 because they screw up, from 70 yards out, and they'll make a double bogey or whatever. So yeah, the quickest way to help somebody with their golf game typically is to get them to control their distance better with their putter. That's usually where the most at amateur level is. Most shots are
hitting
lost.
it past the hole too much,
or short.
Yeah.
They don't make anything of consequence lengthwise because the distance control's off, and they're three putting.
Right.
3-4 times, and put too much pressure on their short putting.
All right. So for all of these amateur putters out here, give us a drill that'll help deal with that.
One of my favorite drills is I call a short, medium, long drill, and it's 18. You get 3 balls, and you're just going to be random. You're going to go short, medium, long. When I talk short, I might say 20-footer, and like a 45-footer, and a long one might be a 60. We go down the hill for 3 balls, and then we turn around and go across the green for 3, and then go up for 3. So you'll do 6 sets of 3 for 18 putts, and I create a scoring system. If you make a putt, it's worth 3 points. If you hit it inside a club length and beyond the hole, which would be like a perfect speed putt, that's worth 2. Short of the hole, inside a club length, still good. Not being greedy from that distance, that's worth a point. And 0 points if it's outside the club length. And the pros that play this game that I work with, to pass the test have to score 23 points or more. And so what happens when you're playing a game like that, the intensity goes up, the focus goes up, but because it's random, the value or transfer value of the practice is better. And so all I do for an amateur would be I just lower the point total value and say, okay, we're going to do this drill, and to win this test, you got to get 18 points. Yeah. Now, if they do it and they can do it regularly, then we'll up the level to pass. Now we make it 20. And so every day they're fighting to improve and get better and practicing the right way.
There's lots of us that say we want to get better, and talk about the commitment it takes to not only take the lesson but to improve beyond that. I mean, to take that lesson and do something with it.
Yeah, that's the real thing that people don't understand. Is just that good players are willing to do what's required to be good, and a lot of the other players wish they were good, but they weren't willing to pay the price. And I always show people, a lot of times in my education things, I'll show a picture of IK Kim hitting balls off her knees to create upper body speed, hitting shots left-handed to try and balance her body. She's doing whatever she can. And it's just a matter of deciding if it's important to you or not. And then also, I think some people make the mistake thinking that, if I want to work on it, I got to spend a lot of time. And the reality is that's not true. You just have to have quality time.
Okay.
5 minutes of really quality work would be a lot better than half an hour of going through the motions.
Right.
And so I think when I have a player that has a life, and we all have things to do, one of the things I try and do as a coach is help them become efficient in their practice. Try and get their practice time. Okay, if I had 40 minutes to train, how could I be really effective in 40 minutes?
So put yourself on the other side of the camera. You're the neophyte out there that is going to look for a coach and find someone to help them with their game. What do they do? How do they go about it?
Well, there's all sorts of venues. Obviously, word of mouth helps, but that can be dangerous, a little bit.
Sure.
And we had Golf MD at the education. They talked about how you could create a platform so people can, like a TripAdvisor, can rate the golf coach, so you can kind of see what you're getting into. But the reality is, I think that the key issue is to find somebody that you have a connection with and develop a relationship with. One of the big mistakes people make, I don't know if that's answering your question or not, but they change coaches.
Yeah.
Because no coach can have, you and I are not going to have the same opinion on, what the proper form is in putting. But the reality is, if I have a guy come to me and then he's not satisfied, and then he comes to you and he gets different advice, then he goes to the next guy, and he's completely lost. So the key is find somebody you believe in and stick with them.
Yeah. There you go. Find someone you believe with and stick them. You know, this is a game. It's a game, and it's supposed to be fun. And I think that sometimes we forget that.
Right, no question.
Go have some fun. James
Right.
Sieckmann.
Thank you.